Next, right here, WPRA Breakaway World Champion, Hope Thompson. Give her a hand. And he's the average winner this year in the steer brought to you by Jay Cooper and the Outsiders. Tony Reina, give him a hand. You should be on.
Like the theme music there, Tony?
Oh, yeah.
Everybody make sure your mic's on. We're laid back here. All right, good deal, good deal. I want to remind everybody we're streaming live on NRSworld.com right there, so we don't want to give anybody that chance. But how are y'all? I'm sure y'all are busy. Y'all all playing in here and making rounds and signing autographs and all that. Larry, tell us about kind of your schedule since you got. You were delayed, right, due to weather, is that right?
Yes, we were delayed for about 3 days. The Gongs that on South Point, they sent their plane to pick up their daughter. And there were several of us. They sent it to pick up 2, and they ended up picking up about 18.
Oh, really? Yeah, there's a lot of them delayed. Were you roping somewhere right before? Did I hear that? Did you have a team roping or something you were doing right before you come out here?
Was in Salado the week before.
Oh, okay, the week before. Good deal, good deal. Hope, how about you? What's your schedule been so far? Did you just roll into town? Were you delayed?
Yes, I came in with Lari Dee Guy.
Oh, okay. Y'all came at the same time. Oh, yeah. That helps to hang out there, doesn't it? You're the 2013 Breakaway World Champion in the WPRA. Talk about that a little bit. I mean, that's quite an accomplishment. There's a lot of good gals that as far as the breakaway roping, we see them a lot. But tell us about that. Yeah, exactly. Tell us how that was. What's that feel like?
It feels great. I came in there knowing I had a chance at it. I guess last minute really except you could probably win the world breakaway, really. And kind of checked out, and I came in from behind, but it all worked out, and I was really excited about it.
I don't know, I think most people, kind of know, but talk to us about, like, what were some of your times in the breakaway, to win that game? I mean, we're talking seconds here. We had Jackie Hobbs the other day, and
She almost beat me.
yeah, well, it caught my attention. She's talking, like team roping is 4-1 or something. She starts talking about 1 second or second. I don't even know how to say that when you're talking about time. It happens that fast. Talk about that. And seeing your calves out as far as the score, you have to be ready for breakaway.
Right, and over there it was just the starts. When they moved, you could go right behind them, so it got pretty fast over there and made it tough. I had a bad first round. I actually 2-looped my first gap, so to be able to win it, I had to come back in the rounds and pretty much place in every round, and that's kind of how I did it. I think I was 2-5 in the second round to win. I think I split the second round, and then it was 2-3 and 2-4.
Where does all this, as far as the finals, is it a year-end deal? And Larry, y'all can chime in on this deal. On the WPRA, is there a finals, or is it just kind of a year-end? How many money won throughout the year? Tell us a little bit how that works.
They have you win money all year long, and then you get to the finals, and then the finals, it's the same as here.
Right.
And then the finals count to see who the world champion is, and then also there's a finals champion as well.
Oh, I got you. Where's that held? Where did they have the finals?
At Waco, Texas.
Waco, Texas. Very good. When was that?
That was right a month ago. I can't remember the exact dates.
Yeah.
1st of November.
1st of November. Perfect. Tony Reina, you won the average in the steer roping this year, and I want to say congratulations. I know that's a big accomplishment. You're very proud of that. But talk about how that felt, buddy.
Well, it was pretty awesome for me. Being that, I took a break from rodeo for several years to run my business, take care of my family, raise my kids.
Yeah.
I made the finals at Roping Calves. It's been 14 years.
Right, sure.
And that was, one of the ultimate things I always wanted to do. Everybody wanted to, win the gold buckle.
Right.
But I accomplished making the finals in the calf roping, and it was just a time in my life where I thought, it's time to do something different. Sure. I need to go on and be a dad, and be a good husband, and do so. I took that break for a while, and so for me to pick up the steer rope, and I've always been fond of the steer rope. I mean, I've always kind of thought that Guy Allens and Roy Coles, Jim Davises and those guys like that, Roy Angermiller. I love to watch those guys rope, and I was rodeoing roping calves. I hung around to watch the steer rope. That's one of my favorite events.
Sure.
And when I started tripping steers, probably in 05 or 06, that was kind of when I started back then. I just was doing a little bit of circuit rodeoing, kids. My oldest one, Bailey, she was getting involved in youth rodeo. Riley was just a couple of years old, and so it was something for me to kind of take a little break from work and do that. So the steer rope and I worked up, but in the last couple of years I had the deal where people say, well, you need to go to more than 12 or 15 rodeos so you can make the finals. Because I would win 14, 15, 18,000 and go to 10 or 12 rodeos. So this year I had a good winter. And I mean, it just, my first year got to go to Texas, and after that I tied like 17 down the road in place.
Sure.
Every time I turned around, I had 18 or 20,000 one quick. So it was like, okay, you're going to have to go to more than 12 or 15 rodeos. So I kind of made the decision this year to do it, and I think I went to like 30. And it was hard juggling it, so for me to go to the finals and do what I did is very satisfying for me, because my work schedule, my business, my family business, I've got 120 employees. I got to keep going, take care of my family, and rodeo, softball, everything else that they do comes first. It comes about 56 that list. So getting to the finals was great, but Trevor told me back in the early part of the year, he said, you can do this. He said, but you got to go and be prepared at every rodeo you go to, because you're not going to go just many. He said, so you need to work at every one of them just like you're going to National Finals. He said, if you're prepared, you're going to win, you can't leave money laying on the ground if you're not going to go to as many rodeos. So that's kind of the game plan that I went with, and it worked for me. And then, I felt like I really worked hard for 2 weeks before the finals, whether it be my roping or keeping myself in condition to do it. And me and my wife were talking yesterday. This is such a different thing now in NFR from 15 years ago. 14, 15 years ago, we weren't on no workout regimen.
No. Late nights.
And it's just so important to not only be prepared to keep your horses tuned up, but keep your body tuned up and be ready to perform. And it's a big deal.
Yeah, it is a big deal. Before I forget, I want you to talk about this real quick, but you got your family with you. Introduce them for us real quick.
My wife Kelly and my youngest daughter Riley. They're here. Bailey, she'll be here tomorrow.
And Riley, Bailey, they both rope, don't they?
Yes.
Breakaway and that kind of deal.
Run girls, run poles, run cutting horses.
Oh yeah.
We take two rigs to the youth rodeo. Horses. It's a circus.
That's awesome, man. That's really good. Larry D, as far as, I want everybody to know that all three of them up here are, world-renowned horse trainers. Not only do they just rope, there's so much more to it than just that, as far as horsemanship. I mean, if you see these three, on a horse, you can tell real quick. But Larry D, as far as your head and horse, talk about him a little bit. Do you have a backup? Talk about your horses a little bit.
Well, I have about 25 head of horses at my house, and I sold all my good ones, and most of them are young now. And I've crippled a few, and before I went to the finals and before I went to the U.S. finals in Oklahoma City, I actually had to borrow one. And it was from a friend of mine, Todd Hughes, and I ride a lot of his horses and help him with them, and he has amazing horses, and he let me borrow his horse, and he He's good.
Yeah,
He's real good.
yeah,
And besides the good horse, I mean, I had a Ned Hinkle healing, which is the only #7 girl healer in the world.
Only.
You know.
Yeah, exactly.
I had a pretty good chance.
Yeah, and that's a full-time job. I mean, keeping horses going, you know, especially going down the road. You know, us weekend team ropers, you're back at the house on Sunday, you know, if your horse isn't scoring or anything like that. But talk a little bit, you know, about going down the road and keeping horses, you know, keeping them primed, you know, that kind of deal.
Well, you know, it's hard. And, I mean, even like with Trevor, sometimes he sends his home, and I have to ride them just to kind of help him out.
Exactly.
It's hard to ask them, you know, day in and day out for their life and expect them to do the same thing for you every time and not, you know, get you in some way. And,
right, sure.
You know, I like to always take my horses home and, you know, give them a chance to let their minds relax and, you know, score.
Right, right.
Just do the basics. Take them all the way back to the basics.
Exactly. Hope, you were the Breakaway world champion, but you rope calves as well as far as tie down, you know, at some of the ultimate ropings and stuff like that. Talk about that a little bit. And I want to tell everybody, when I say rope calves, Lari Dee does too, flanks and ties calves. She will beat you, I promise you. But talk about that a little bit, Hope.
I said something about being a little intimidated.
I know.
You asked me to be on here today, and I said, I don't know if I want to be here with these two girls. They rope better than I do.
Yeah, who else is on the show? And he's like,
no.
Talk about that, Hope.
I kind of got into that whenever I went to live with Lari Dee and work with her, but
she hasn't ever left.
Yeah, still there.
Not yet.
Still there.
She doesn't mind.
Yeah. Oh, she don't.
No. Like I said, I started whenever I went out there because, I mean, she trained the calf horses and stuff, so I kind of had to step up.
Yep, exactly.
and got myself into that, and I do a little bit at the Ultimate Calf Ropings. I enjoy it, but a lot of times, like she said, with the young ones, we'll take those, and that'll be their exposure, you know, to get to rope the size of calves and the kind of calves that I get to rope at those. So I do that a little bit. I did rope at the tie down at the WPRA finals also.
Okay,
team
I got
rope.
you.
I mean,
absolutely.
had to step up.
Oh yeah, and you kind of touched on it a little bit. Whether it's there's a lot of folks, you know, watching, you know, on the website and all that, you know, that's just starting out, and all three of you, you know, if you won't chime in, but if you're just getting started, whether it's roping, golf, music, or whatever, but like you did, you know, you always talk a little bit about surrounding yourself and somebody better than what you do. You know, if you're trying to learn a craft, you know, talk about, you know, what y'all did, you know, to be where you are now, you know, some early in y'all's life, you know, just chime in on that deal. Tony, how about you?
Well, I mean, I always said if you run with a wolf, you're going to be a wolf.
Right.
When I was rodeoing roping calves, I tried to rodeo with the biggest wolves. I mean, I rodeoed with Joe Beaver for several years, and I rodeoed with Cody Old. And I'm going to have to say that when I rodeoed with Cody Old, I won more than I ever won.
Right.
In which I won second to him a lot my whole life.
Yeah.
From youth rodeo all the way up. But just the fact that a guy like, you get a group of guys together that feed off one another. You surround yourself with positive people and talented people.
Right.
You're going to rise up. I mean, that's just the level of good sports. But you know, when I went to college, I was just one of them high school kids that got out of there, and I was winning a lot. And I thought, man, you know, I roped pretty good, but I really didn't rope all that good. I just thought I did.
Sure.
You know? So I got to where I tried to get with those guys that I could pick up more off of, you know. And Joe just happened to be one of those guys that I picked up a lot of my roping from him. But I've had all kind of guys over the years that I mean, I could go on and name you a list of top ropers, you know. And it was kind of the same thing when I started tripping steers. I mean, I took videos of Trevor, Guy, Scott Snedeker. And here this last couple of years, Tuck Garnett has helped me with my steer roping a lot. You know, he made the finals a few times. And he's probably the one that broke it down more for me about that event being it's an art. Steer roping is an art. It's tough to do. It's dang sure tough to tie 10 head down the rope.
Exactly.
But you know, it's hard to tie 3 down in a row at a regular rodeo.
Right.
You know, and there's so much horsemanship involved, and yeah, you got to be talented with your rope.
Right.
But you know, I think you never know too much to pick up some advice from somebody else. You know? I know that we always stay at the guys during the high school finals. Right. When Bailey's up there at the high school finals, so I like to go down there and watch them ride a little bit, because you always are picking up something.
Right.
You know, you're not too bashful to learn something from somebody, no matter how much you roped or how much you rode or how much you won. Yeah. You know, you can always pick something up. So I think you have to be open-minded to be able to learn more. Mm-hmm. And in our events, calf roping especially, no matter if it's a breakaway or the tie down, it's changed again in the last 10 years. I mean, I didn't think it could get much faster than it did 10 years ago, and now it is. And I know that the conditioning of the calves and the start, but I mean, these guys are 10 times more in shape, and horsepower is as good or better, and calves are maybe a little bit better, but it's a show here that everybody wants to see, and the team roping's the same way. I think ropes have gotten better, people have gotten more disciplined with their work and their horsepower. And there's just a lot. You're never too old to pick up something from somebody else. Yeah, I think that's great advice, you know, just be willing to learn. You know, you see a lot of folks that, not that they know it all, or, you know, just can't tell them anything or anything like that, but I think you're right, you know, you touched on that. I don't know if y'all noticed a second ago, Lari Dee mentioned Trevor Brazil, which I believe you are maybe partners on some horses or have been in the past, but there's a lot of folks behind the scenes. You know, you see these animals on TV and you come here and everything, but if Trevor Brazil needs a horse tuned up or ridden or anything like that, it comes to Lari Dee Guy's house. And talk about that a little bit, Lari Dee, and also touch on, you know, what they were talking about at a younger age, you know, kind of who you looked up to, whether it was your dad or kind of how you got started, you know. Well, you know, when I was younger, my dad is who, you know, taught us all the basics. And same as Tony said, I mean, you know, with Trevor, Jay Corkill, there's so many people that I like to go rope with, I like to talk to on the phone, and, you know, kind of break it down and figure out, you know, why this might be happening or why that might be happening, and, you know, just talk things through and go to their house and rope with them. And like he said, you know, people come to our house a lot and rope, and you know, Trevor and I, we go way back. Right. I hate to tell my age, but you don't have to. That's right. You know, ever since he was a young kid, he and I were just buddies. And we grew up together and ride. You know, I ride a lot of his horses. He rides a lot of mine, and we partner. I think we have 3 or 4 right now that we're partners on. Yeah. And in the early stages, somehow I always get stuck with them. Yeah. You know, when they get good, then I would send them to you too if I was him. He gets all the glory. Oh, you know? Yeah, exactly. Just how it goes. It ain't gonna get no better. Yeah. I would send them to you as well. But it's a good relationship. Right. And absolutely. I mean, I owe a lot of my success to him. I mean, he's never, you know, he never not tells people that, you know, that I ride them or help them or whatever. And the same for me. I mean, he helps me tremendously. Right, and that talks, you know, touches on Trevor's character, you know, and... Let's don't touch on that. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Hope, there at Lari Dee's place, walk us through, you know, a day. You know, y'all get up as far as your practice. We don't have enough time. Say that again? We don't have enough time. Oh, yeah, exactly. But kind of tell us, you know, as far as whether it's breakaway or anything like that, but, you know, talk about what goes on practicing and you know, breakawaying, or whether it's tie down or team roping or anything. But walk us through, you know, a day at the Guy Ranch over there. Well, it starts off that I saddle everything, pin the calves, turn them all out. She ropes all day. Yeah, she ropes. He's talking to me. Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. No, that's not all the time true, but... in the mornings. What? Morning. Maybe after lunch. Yeah, after lunch. Come on. Yeah. No, we do. We go saddle them all in the morning, and we usually try to ride all of them. So we do all of it. We breakaway, head, heel. When we have a calf horse, then we'll work with those. But it's roping from morning, mid-morning. Right.
till dark, and now she's got that covered arena, so it's almost like we never get away from there. But,
exactly.
Just like, I mean, they were saying earlier, if it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't be sitting in this chair right now. But I roped before I went to her house and stuff, but from being there and stepping up, like they were talking about, I mean, it's made a world of difference, I feel, in my horsemanship and being able to do what I can do now that I couldn't do before. So
right. In a day, how many?
You, Lari Dee.
Yeah, thanks,
You're
Lari Dee.
welcome, Hope T.
In a day, how many horses are we looking at? You know, is it 5? Is it 25? You know, that you guys are riding. How many horses are y'all working on? You know, during a day.
We're at least 15 a day.
At least 15 a day. Wow, that is.
And that's because some are hurt right now.
Yeah, exactly. Tony, back to the steer roping. I don't know that a lot of people know this. I mean, you don't have your finals here in Vegas at the same time as the NFR here, but it's an event just like any of the others. But talk about where the finals are held and educate us on steer roping a little bit.
Well, they're held at the Lazy E in Guthrie, Oklahoma. They've been there for several years now. I think about 5 years back since they moved them from Hobbs. They back the very first National Finals steer roping that was held there when it opened was in, I think, 84, I think, whenever the National Finals was still in Oklahoma City. So it was held in conjunction with it back then before it moved to Vegas. And then after the move, it stayed there. And then it's bounced a couple of times. I think it was in Amarillo a couple of years, and then it moved to Hobbs for 3 years. Now it's back over there at Guthrie. It's good there. Yeah. It's really good there.
Well, I don't mean to interrupt you, but it takes a special arena to trip steers. You couldn't do it at the Thomas and Mack.
No, it'd be too tough to do at the Thomas and Mack. I'm not saying that we hadn't tripped steers in a couple of arenas that small, because we have. But, the Lazy E is a great place. Yeah. It was made for steer roping. I mean, that's pretty much one of the mindsets behind it when Gaylord built it. But, it's set up great, but you don't have to have that big of an arena. I mean, you could probably have a 225, 250 foot arena and get away with it pretty nice. It'd be a good steer roping. I mean, as long as the chutes were offset from the middle. That would be the hardest thing about roping in a place like this, is that the chutes are set in the middle. I mean, you see it in the team roping. Yeah, exactly. Where a header gets in the wall so fast. And the Lazy E, I think that it showcases the horsepower. Because you got to have some horsepower. That arena's big, and when they rope the bigger steers like we roped this year, it made a big difference. The horsepower, and they've got plenty of room to work and plenty of room to make things shape up if things don't look real good. There's so much horsemanship involved in that, and that arena allows you to do it. Where everybody kind of thinks Cheyenne, man, it's a huge arena, and but it's one of the hardest places to rope steers because they like to come out and go left, or stay right in the middle, and there's not a lot of room to go left. So if you don't have a real good horse that will really come back up that fence, it's hard to keep a steer down. This year was the first year I ever went to Pendleton. I never roped calves at Pendleton, and I know it's on the grass and there's a lot of things that everybody gets scared of, but man, that was the coolest rodeo I've ever been to in my life.
I imagine.
And there was plenty of room to tie them down there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But before I forget here, the whole steer, I mean, it's kind of the same deal, I want to educate people more on the WPRA and the steer roping. I don't think, either one of them get enough credit, but I think it worked out good that all three of y'all were up here at the same time. But, Tony, back to steer roping real quick. If we go to, say, Odessa or anything like that, or any other roping, folks usually, they don't see the steer roping during the performances. That stuff happens like in the slack in the mornings or in the evenings or something like that, doesn't it?
Right. There's a few rodeos in Texas that will have steer roping in the performance. Bridgeport, Texas, Sonora, Texas, Pecos. Yeah. Some of those, they'll have one of the rounds in the performances. But, steer roping's one of the oldest events. I mean, there was saddle bronc riding and steer roping at Cheyenne, the first one. And that was, and it's getting more well known again, I think. because there's more rodeos having it. But say a rodeo like Odessa, it's one of the best ones to start out the year. It adds, you know, $8,000 or $10,000, and they make it a 4-header.
Yeah.
And you rope 2 one morning after they finish the slack at the Coliseum. Then the next morning you rope 2 again.
Right.
And it pays. I mean, a guy can go win $8,000 or $10,000 there at one of the very first rodeos of the year. So it is a great rodeo. But you know, a lot of rodeo committees that have steer roping have it because they have some people that are really interested in that event in their community, that they've always had steer roping, or they had it and then they quit having it and now they want to have it again because they want to get back to some old heritage of, because a lot of the ranchers, a lot of the older rodeo fans, they're big steer roping fans. I mean, you go to San Angelo Roping Fiesta, one of the greatest match ropings all year long, you know. They still have steer roping there. It's like the Windy Ryan, they have steer roping. Those big, old invitational ropings like that, steer roping is big. You know, and I'm glad to see it coming back in rodeo. And, you know, for a guy like me that I don't want to be gone a bunch anymore, you know, I don't have the time. And so the amount of rodeos that have it and trying to get to them, I just do not see them have more than 50 or 60. 50 or 60 of the best ones, you know. But it's good to see the rodeos that are a small committee that have steer roping, because they'll have it in conjunction with their slack, maybe just have a 2-header. And so you'll get guys like Trevor, Rick Skelton. And when Guy Allen was going, you'd get those guys that would come to those smaller rodeos that only had $1,000 or $1,500, $2,000, because they'll come in team rope. Come in rope calves. And so that was helping those smaller rodeos when they'd add steer roping, because they'd get their guys like Trevor and Rich, and it would help them sell tickets at their rodeo too. So, you know, it's a two-way street, but steer roping is good for rodeo. And there's so many rules and things that have been implemented to protect steer roping and protect our animals and protect our event, that it's just getting better and better every year.
Well, good deal, good deal. Before I forget, you two ladies were brought to us by Spalding Fly Predator up here, and I want to talk about their product a little bit and tell us kind of what they've got going on, Lari Dee.
You know, the Fly Predators are amazing, and they're amazing people to work with. I guess the way that you would say that, I don't know really exactly how you would say it works. You got to go talk to those guys over there at their booth.
But you use it, you know, in your barns. And
we have 10,000 acres there on our ranch, and we have cattle, and then we have our horse barns, and, you know, there's flies everywhere. So it is a very, very good way of controlling the fly, you know, the fly situation.
Absolutely. I want to let everybody know their booth is not directly behind the stage, but back a little bit behind. But Tony, talk about some of your sponsors as well, because we've talked about it with other folks up here. Y'all couldn't do it without them. You know, it's a long road. You know, talk about some of your sponsors and folks.
Well, for me, I mean, Wrangler's I've been with Wrangler for a long time.
Yes, sir.
You know, and even when I took a break from rodeo, you know, it's nice to get the perks of being with a sponsor like that. And you know, P&P Trailers is who I'm sponsored by with my trailer deal, and that's just so helpful. The cost to go is enormous. You know, $4 fuel. I mean, I look at that fuel bill every week with our business, because we're basically in the transportation business for the oil and gas companies. So fuel is a big thing, and it's not getting any cheaper for the rodeo cowboy either. So you know, any sponsorship that you are able to receive is very welcomed, you know, and consider it a gift, because, you know, I heard somebody say last night about, man, I got to go do an autograph session, or I got to go do this, and no, you get to go do that. It's a privilege to get to go do that, and what the Cowboys are doing now, and, you know, just like seeing Hope and Lari Dee here, you know, their time that they're spending here and doing what you're doing right now, or signing autographs, you know, you're giving back to the fans, and the fans are what makes rodeo what it is.
You're exactly
I don't care what event it is, if it's the WPRA or the steer roping or here at the NFR, or just your local amateur rodeo association. Sure. You give back. Those people buy tickets, and you're giving back to them. So, you know, I think it all is a full circle.
All ties in there. Well, I could do this all day, but they're cutting us off here. It seems like time flies when you, Hope probably don't think so, but it seems like time flies when you get up here. But ladies and gentlemen, would you give a hand to the 2013 heading champion of the world in the WPRE, the breakaway champion, and the average winner at the steer wrestling, Tony Reina, Hope Thompson, and Lari Dee Guy.